Welcome to Strategy for Creatives Business Minus the Bullshit. I, of course, am your host, Sasha, and today we're just going to jump right into it. I wanted to talk about today being productive, or more so how your disorganization is causing you to be less productive. That's probably no surprise to most people because I can imagine that being disorganized makes you feel as if you have so much stuff to do. I like to say that I am a unicorn in the business world because I am actually a super type A personality, or so I've been told, and it actually helps me get more work done. There are a lot of things that I do on a day-to-day basis. Just to kind of name a few. So I have a full-time job, of course. I also have my business by Sasha. You are listening to this podcast, which means I have a podcast. But I also have another podcast called Swirl and Sip Podcast that I have with a co-host, completely not business related, but it takes time to actually produce that podcast. I sit on the board for my son's preschool, so I have duties that go along with that. And of course, I'm also a mom and I'm a wife. And that's just a little bit of what I do. In my business, I help lots of clients. In my day job, I actually have work to do. And I have all the things that go along with being a mom and being a wife. So I have to be organized in order to get anything done in my life. I am literally sitting here at my desk at home in my office, and I have right next to me a planner that I use. I have to use this planner to put every appointment that I have, all of the things that I need to do in it in order for me to get pretty much anything done in my day. If it's not in my planner, it's not going to happen. I put my workouts in there, any meetings that I have with clients, friends, anything that I've got going on has to go into my planner. And so organization for me is a must. Now, I will say that I'm not the neatest, so my office is or can be a little bit cluttered, and I like to live out of a laundry basket. But outside of that, when it comes to business, I actually am pretty organized, and it's because I need to get things done. And being disorganized can actually make us less productive than we realize, right? We probably think that our disorganization isn't making us any less productive, or maybe not as much as we think it is, but it can affect so much more than what we actually have to get done. When we are disorganized, it's going to affect your state of mind. It has been shown in various studies that your physical environment of clutter can make your mind feel cluttered too. So if you work in a state where you can't find things, your desk is a mess, you don't know what your schedule is, it's going to cause you stress. It's going to increase anxiety about your unfinished things that you have to do. And so it's going to be hard for your mind to actually feel calm if your environment in general is not calm. So it's really important to try to take an effort, even if it's like once a month, to try to just reorganize your space and your physical space at that. So that way it can help you essentially clear your mind, to help you clear the clutter that's in your head. When you do things like clear out spaces in your house or in your office or in your business, it helps you feel rejuvenated. It'll help you feel calm. And it can actually allow you to feel a little bit more confident and focus solely on the tasks that you have to get done. Disorganization can also absolutely be a time waster. So my downfall when it comes to time wasting is that I love to scroll on social media. I will get lost in TikTok rabbit holes all day, every day, if it lets me. But I keep a planner, and that allows me to stay organized with my time. But if you are someone who doesn't have a planner, or you have a disorganized space, you will spend so much more time trying to find things. You'll waste time trying to reschedule meetings with clients because you may miss them if they're not written down somewhere. And it actually will become it'll start to take a toll on you emotionally and physically, and it's going to prevent you from being as productive as you can be in your business. So I get that being productive is something that we want to accomplish, is of course a goal of ours, but sometimes being disorganized is something that is hard to break. Disorganization, especially for a lot of creatives, is something that we think helps us be more creative. We think that if our space reflects our art, then it helps us come up with new ideas, and it helps us, get into the mindset of creating. That's not necessarily true. You can create just as well in a space that is somewhat organized, or in a in a place where you have a schedule than you could in disorganization. And so I want you to just think about that for a minute. There are plenty of people who are creative in spaces that look nice. While they're being creative, it may get a little messed up, but then taking the time to actually organize that space after, not only does it help you get into that creative mindset easier when you come back to that space. Let's say, for example, my mother is an artist. She paints. And if she does not put her art paint and paintbrushes and all of those things away, the next time that she has inspiration to actually paint something and it hits her, she will probably waste more time trying to find all of the things that she needs than being able to just jump right into it when that spark of inspiration hits. And therefore, she's going to be more productive in a space that's more organized. So breaking those habits can be hard. I know that it can be a challenge to be organized, but being organized can help boost those productivity levels. And in our businesses, we want to make sure that we are being as productive with the time that we have. Allowing ourselves to be a little bit more organized and boosting those productivity levels not only helps us accomplish more, but it's going to help us do more in less time. And I don't mean that from a capitalistic standpoint, right? I'm not talking about because we work for the man that we need to get more done with less time. I'm saying it as a lifestyle, because when we are able to accomplish more in our business in the same amount of time or less, it frees up time that we can then spend on other things that we love. The whole reason why we have businesses is because we want to be able to do what we want when we want. And sometimes our disorganization doesn't allow that to happen. It's hard to plan for family vacations or to go out with friends or to do things with partners or spouses if we are always running behind on the things that we have to do our business because we can't find things, or we always have meetings with clients that we didn't know about and we have to reschedule during times that aren't ideal for us because we just keep missing out on those things. So if you look at it from the point that helping to be more organized will actually help you be more productive, which is then going to give you time to spend on the things that you love doing, taking those small steps will actually not feel as hard. It's going to make your life a little bit easier. So for today, in today's action step for the show, I'm going to help you increase your productivity. You can pick one of these or you can pick several, but we're going to start with a couple of things you can do that are going to help boost your productivity. Number one, outside of organizing our space and decluttering and things like that, I want you to set reasonable goals. One of the ways that we suck at being productive is because we think we can accomplish a lot more than we can accomplish in a given time frame. I don't mean that we can't accomplish our goals, but we don't set reasonable goals for the times that we have. I want you to look at the actual amount of time that you have to spend on any given work project and realistically set goals that fit within that time span. So that might mean, for example, let's say you have an hour that you can work on your business today, whether that means you're working between nap times or maybe you have to run to another meeting, but you have an hour today to get something done in your business. What can you reasonably accomplish in an hour? Maybe it's setting up an email campaign to go out. Maybe it's setting up 3 posts to post on Instagram for the next week. Maybe it's just responding to client emails. Any one of those are goals, but set a reasonable goal for the time that you have. Don't worry about trying to accomplish too much too quickly. That can also set up our productivity back, because when we set goals that we cannot accomplish, we feel as if we are failures, which then makes us not want to work on our goals at all. And so we'll actually decrease our productivity because we don't feel like we can accomplish anything to begin with. So set reasonable goals. Set goals that make sense for the time that you have. Another thing that you can do is make a daily schedule. So some people work good with daily schedules, some people don't. I don't have a strict daily schedule, but what I do have are time frames where I work best. So I do not like morning time frames. I don't like doing things in the morning. It takes me a while to get myself going. And outside of like getting my son ready for school, it's hard for me to accomplish things in the morning. So I'm not going to schedule anything that's work related before 10 a.m. because I have breakfast to make. I have to get my son off to school. It's just not going to happen before that time. So I know that if I want to work out, it's going to happen before 10 a.m. because once 10 a.m. hits, that's probably when I'm going to start diving into either my day job or I'm going to start diving into whatever I have to do for business in the day. I also make sure to have a schedule that makes sense for my lifestyle. So if I know I like to work out, I'm going to put it in my schedule. If I know I'm going to schedule time for myself to eat, because let's remember that we have to do that, people. I put it in my schedule when lunchtime is. If I know that I have to take my son to soccer practice, I know not to schedule meetings during that time. I block it off on my calendar so clients can't schedule meetings. Make a schedule that works for you. It really has to be personalized. A lot of times we get bogged down in the idea that we have to work when others are working or when society says makes sense for working. And that typically means between 9 and 5. If you're not most productive between 9 and 5, that doesn't have to be in your schedule. Maybe you're most productive at 11 p.m. when everyone goes to sleep and you know you can bang out things really quickly. So make a schedule for 11. Maybe that means when you log onto your computer at 11 p.m., you're checking emails and then you're going to go on to social media and then you're going to go on to your email marketing. But make a schedule that makes sense for you. Now, this is the one that I get stuck on, but eliminating distractions. I told you before that I can get lost in TikTok. So for me, when I want to be productive, I have to put my phone away. I turn off, my ringer's never on. My phone is always on silent, but I'll turn off my notifications so that I can't see when things pop up on my phone. So that way, if I need to get something done, I'm going to put it away. If I know that I want a break from the work that I'm doing, I allow myself the distraction of maybe 15, 20 minutes of scrolling on social media. But once I've hit that time, the phone's going away so that way I can actually work. Now, some of us, it's harder to eliminate distractions than others. I get it. Sometimes we only have short amount of bursts between kids and between the things that we have to do in order to get work done. But wherever possible, if you know you have a short amount of time to work, try to eliminate the distractions that you have in order to just get more work done. Now, for some people, me included, this will be the hard one: waking up early. Now, there are lots of studies out there that say highly paid CEOs wake up before the sun comes up. They wake up before their household, and that's when they get the most things accomplished. I get it. I don't like to wake up early, so for me, that's never going to be something that's going to boost my productivity. But for some people, it might work. Maybe you can wake up at 5 a.m. and you'll be able to knock out a bunch of work before the rest of your household gets up. Or like I mentioned before, maybe you would just do better if you stayed up later because you function better at night. So if that means waking up early or going to bed late, pick a time that works best for you where you can find dedicated time for yourself that'll allow you to get work done. And lastly, prioritize what you have to get done. Prioritize your task. I have a freebie on my website that is a daily productivity checklist. It'll actually help you prioritize your top 3 things to get done today and then 3 things that can wait till tomorrow. And I do that on purpose. It's set up like that for a reason. We all have lofty goals when we wake up in the morning. We have lots of things that we want to accomplish on a given day. But then life happens and things don't get done. That's okay. Sometimes things have to get done though, right? So in our business, let's pick 1 to 3 things that are must get done for today. So you know that when you are time blocking, when you're setting your schedule, when you're eliminating distractions, these 3 things are what you're going to focus on. Those 3 things that can wait till tomorrow, don't worry about them. You can put them on your list so that way you know that they have to get done. But that way you don't have to stress about when they get done because you know while they're a priority, they're not a priority for today. It's important to prioritize our task in order to boost our productivity levels because when we allow ourselves to focus on 1 to 3 things, 1 to 5 things in any given day, it's allowing our mind the freedom and the bandwidth to actually be intentional about what we're doing with those tasks. When we feel like we have so many things to accomplish and we're not giving ourselves the freedom to not do something today, that's when we start to stress ourselves out. That's when we start to feel like we're not accomplishing enough. That's when we start to feel like it's just too much and we're not being productive enough. So go through what it is you have to do on a day-to-day basis and pick out those 1 to 3 things that have to get done today. So that way you can prioritize how you're going to focus your time. One of the things that I found works really well for prioritizing what our tasks are is looking first thing in the morning when you sit down to get your work done on what's outstanding. Make a list, open up those emails, and start writing a list of who you have to respond to, any client work that has to be done, communications that have to go out, marketing, anything like that. Write a list in the morning of what has to be done and then prioritize. Go through that list, figure out what can be done today and what can wait till tomorrow. By doing that in the morning or when you first start to work for the day, you're getting the overall picture of all of the things that have to happen in your business, but you're also allowing yourself time to look at the strategic way of it and figure out which is more important, what can wait, what doesn't have to be done right now. And if you're lucky enough to have a team, what can be pushed to your team? I find with some of my clients, I'll give them a daily list of, okay, here's what you need to focus on today. Don't worry about anything else. And it just helps them be more productive. So hopefully you can find one of these tips and implement them in your business to help you boost your productivity. The one thing I don't want us to get stuck on is that we have to be productive in order to have a successful business. And that might sound weird. It might sound a little crazy. Of course, you have to be productive to have a successful business. But again, I don't want you to feel like you have to boost your productivity at the expense of yourself. Yes, we have to accomplish things in our business. Yes, we have to do the work in our business that's going to make us money, but not at the expense of burnout. The whole reason for boosting our productivity and prioritizing tasks and making it so that we can accomplish more is like how I said earlier. The reason for doing that is so that when we want to, we have the ability to step away from our business and have our time. When you're creating daily schedules for yourself, the first thing that I want you to do is put in your time on your schedule. Don't put in work time. Put in your time first. The things that you have to do first for yourself to make you feel good today before you accomplish any work. And you schedule your work around that. Boost your productivity by scheduling work around when you feel best. Boost your productivity around scheduling work when you've taken care of yourself. Because when we take care of ourselves, when we are refreshed, relaxed, when we're happy, when we have time to step away, when we eat, when we work out, when we have time with family and friends, that clears our mind enough and reduces stress so that way when we do sit down to work, we're actually going to be more productive. I hope you've been able to at least take away 1 or 2 tips that will allow you to be more productive in your business. Are you ready to uplevel your business? Join the 5-day Be Your Own CEO Challenge. All the details are available on the website at www.by-sasha.com. If you like what you heard, make sure you rate and review. It really helps other people find the show. And of course, follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. Want to follow me on social? I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Strategy by Sasha. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday for more business tips.